All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. This is another quick hit, which is I like to call them micro interviews with local artists who are doing interesting things. And I think this one is going to need a bit of an explanation from the guest because it's a new project that I really don't know much about, and I'm not even sure how to pronounce the name of the project. I think the best way to start this off is just if you want to introduce yourself and just give a bit of background about what it is that you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm Dale. I've been playing guitar in Ex Omerta for its entirety of its existence. Got a new project on the way now. I'm calling it Wolf NFG.
Okay.
And it's essentially a solo project. I want to make it as collaborative as possible, though. So musically speaking, I want it to take a lot of different turns from what I've traditionally kind of done in music.
Okay. Well, people know you as a rock guy, right? I mean, you have that. That's kind of what you're known as in the city. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of that influence in this project too. So for the most part, it's going to be a lot more of a blues rock kind of thing, but there's some production elements from some of the newer like trap styles that I've really been liking a lot for the past few years that to varying extents have or have not worked their way into EXO's music. And okay. Those are taking a bigger forefront in this project. And then there's also, there's going to be a lot of songs that I'm not going to be singing on, and different featured musicians I want on different instruments. So the overall sound is going to be probably a lot more eclectic than what EXO's done. But for the stuff that I'm singing, I can't sing very much. So it's going to be very cohesive on those songs. And cool. Then the rest of it is other people.
So did this come about as a result of the pandemic? Just the fact that you guys can't play shows with the main project, right? Is that sort of why this happened?
That was definitely the big catalyst for it. We so Ex Omerta has basically a double album that we're in the middle of recording right now. And that was written during the pandemic. The whole thing, pretty much November until now, is when all of those songs came to be. And in the course of learning how to do that remotely, recording parts, writing songs, all of that without even being together. Yeah. It's been a crash course in how to produce music and open my eyes up to a lot of other possibilities. So I did the Linkin Park jam with Matt
I saw
and
that.
Evan.
Yeah.
And that was sort of the first moment where I was like, oh, you know what? If I put the time into it, like I can do this with as many songs as I want to, kind of whenever I want to, which is the other bonus of trying to do something sort of on my own, more or less.
Yeah. Have you already sort of figured out who you want? You know, like you said, you're going to be doing some collaborations on this project. Have you already nailed all those down about who you're going to get to sing on such a track or whatever?
There's a couple of songs that I do have that sorted out on, and I'm just trying to find, you know, how and when to record those. And then outside of two, there's a cover song, and there's somebody else wrote a song that they want to work on that together, which is really cool. And that's something that I'm trying to do more of with this project. Outside of that, it's more of a general kind of ethos that I just want to be able to collaborate with people. There's pop punk songs that I've written. There's like a few things like that are just so outside of any other project I've been a part of. And I'm like, well, I want this to exist somehow, somewhere. And this seemed like a pretty engaging way of doing that, I think.
As someone who's been in the same band for a long time now with Ex Omerta, do you feel like you have to use a different part of your brain to work on these songs for this project, just after so much time and experience kind of working in that trio and writing songs for that particular sound?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of learning how to do different things that we haven't done. And then another kind of bonus of this new project is there's a lot of I wouldn't necessarily say like default things that I would do on songs that in the past have either been reworked or just made cooler or made to fit what EXO has done.
Sure.
And there's a few of those things, whether that's certain vocal melodies that I like or certain guitar moves and sounds that I just haven't got to use much or to do much in past projects, and I'm going to get to feature those a lot more here, which is nice.
Yeah, it's nice to get a chance to flex those muscles, right?
Yeah.
Do you what do you foresee as the future of this project? Because I mean, presumably at some point we're going to get back to some semblance of normality, and there will be shows, and EXO can play shows, and like you said, you have a record coming out, a double record.
Yeah.
Where do you see this project sort of going in future? Are you going to be doing live shows with it, or is it strictly recording at this point?
At this point, it's just a recording project. I don't want to put a limit on anything that can be done with it. Ultimately, I would love for any project I'm a part of to be able to play shows and hit the road and tour. But as it stands right now, it's just more of it's a recording project, and I want to also just engage with fans in a different way than maybe a traditional rock band has. And I've noticed that through the pandemic, one silver lining has been just that ability to do that. I mean, with EXO in the winter, when we were writing these songs, I was going on live streams and having people sort of give their 2 cents on a song, or I'd say, what key should this song or part be in, or like throw out a chord progression and we'll write something. And more often than not, those actually made it into the finished versions of those songs, which is really cool. And I think that people's attention being away from the stage and more on the people who are making the music. It's been definitely an interesting change, and there's pros and cons to it, but I'd like to be able to play up those pros with this project.
What the hell does the name mean? Because I keep forgetting what the initials are after the Wolf part. The Wolf part I got down, right? But what is the significance of the name?
Yeah, it's really just a little like tag that got thrown out there as a username. Me and a friend were like talking about something, and can I swear on here?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So NFG is no fucking good, and it's just I have a shop that I work at where you walk through and half of the tools in there have a piece of tape that say NFG. And we were talking about like, oh, wouldn't it be funny to use that for a name or something? And it just kind of like clicked, because I've been wanting to get the social media presence together for a while. And when he said that, I was like, I hope you don't mind, but I'm taking that. I wanted to use Wolf for the ham-fisted symbolism of doing something on my own.
Okay, the lone wolf thing. Yeah.
And it was just, you know what, it just needed a name, so that's how it came out.
What's sort of the timeline for this project? When are you expecting to have some music out there? Obviously you have it all planned out and you're working on it, but what's sort of the end goal?
Late June. I'm gonna have the first single out, and I'm just working on getting all of the material together for that outside of the music too. So that's going to be one where, again, that's me singing, playing all the instruments, doing all of it. And then in the summertime, I want to put out a cover song maybe in July or August with a friend from the local scene on vocals for that one. So that'll differ stylistically a little bit. And then I'm already thinking ahead. So I've got a Halloween song also recorded that will be out around that time. And outside of that, it'll just be when if I'm collaborating with people and the timeline works out that we can do something really quickly and it works for everybody involved, then it'll just kind of be, hey, today's Friday, here's a new song.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's kind of how people are releasing things at this point anyway, just because of this such uncertainty about what's going on. So that definitely makes sense. If someone is, hearing about this project for the first time on this show and they want to follow you and find out more about what's going on, what's the best option there?
Instagram would be the easiest place to engage at wolf.nfg. And there will be a Facebook page in the next week or so also.
Awesome.